My roommate stole my dad's Mustang, so I took his car and left him stranded at the gas station. I spent 4 years restoring my late dad's 1969 Mustang. It was a complete rust bucket when I inherited it, but I poured every spare dime into bringing it back to life. Today was supposed to be the big day. I had finally finished the engine rebuild last week and entered the car into the city's biggest classic auto show. I just wanted people to see what we had built together. I woke up at 5 in the morning to get to the garage I rent across town. My roommate Leo was already awake drinking coffee. He is a mechanic too, and he actually helped me install the transmission last month. He tossed me my shop keys from the counter and wished me luck, telling me he would meet me at the fairgrounds later. I got to the garage and the bay door was wide open. My heart stopped. I ran inside and the stall was completely empty. There was no broken glass and no signs of forced entry. Just an oil stain on the concrete where my dad's car had been sitting for 4 years. Sitting on top of my rolling toolbox was a single piece of printer paper. It had a typed message on it. It said, "I know you stole the shop cash register last month. Go to the police station and confess by noon, or the Mustang goes into the scrap compactor." I could not breathe. I leaned against the toolbox and tried to keep my legs from giving out. The auto shop where Leo and I work got robbed last month, but I had absolutely nothing to do with it. The police already cleared all the employees. Someone was trying to frame me, and they were using the only thing I cared about in this world to force my hand. I called Leo in a complete panic. He answered on the first ring, and I told him the car was gone. He was at the garage 10 minutes later in his Honda Civic. He looked just as shocked as I was. He kept cursing and pacing around the empty bay, asking me who knew the garage passcode. I showed him the ransom note. I told him I did not steal the money, but I was seriously considering just walking into the precinct and taking the fall so I would not lose the car. I would rather go to jail than see my dad's memory destroyed. Leo shook his head and told me not to do anything stupid. He said we had 4 hours until noon, and we were going to find the car ourselves. We spent the next 3 hours driving to every sketchy chop shop and scrapyard Leo knew about. We checked the industrial parks by the river and the abandoned warehouses on the south side. Every dead end made my chest tighter. The clock on Leo's dashboard said it was 11:15. The auto show had already started without me, but I did not even care about that anymore. I just pictured my dad's car getting crushed into a cube of metal. Leo pulled into a gas station. He said we needed fuel, and he was going to buy us some water before we checked the last scrapyard. He left his phone sitting on the center console. I sat in the passenger seat, staring blindly out the windshield, feeling completely defeated. Then, Leo's phone lit up with a notification. It was a text message from a contact named Storage Unit Dave. The preview text said the unit was locked up tight, and the buyer was coming tomorrow with the cash. My brain stalled. I stared at the glowing screen. I tapped the notification to open the message. Leo did not have a passcode. The message thread with Storage Unit Dave was full of pictures. Pictures of my dad's Mustang parked inside a storage unit. I scrolled up with shaking fingers. Last night while I was sleeping, Leo had texted Dave asking to rent a unit off the books for 24 hours. There were messages negotiating a sale price for a classic car without a title. The buyer was some shady exporter who was going to ship the car overseas in a shipping container. The ransom note was just a distraction to keep me busy until noon. If I confessed to the police, I would be locked up and out of the way. If I did not confess, I would be running around the city going crazy while Leo finalized the sale and pocketed the cash. He never planned on crushing the car. He planned on stealing it permanently. I looked out the window. Leo was standing inside the gas station waiting in line at the register. He had a bottle of water in one hand, and he was casually chatting with the cashier like he was not in the middle of ruining my life. I felt this intense, terrifying calm wash over me. The keys were still in the ignition. I slid over the center console into the driver's seat. I put the car in drive and pulled away from the pump. I did not squeal the tires or make a scene. I just drove straight out of the gas station and merged onto the highway. I looked in the rearview mirror right as Leo walked out the glass doors. He stood there on the pavement, staring at the empty spot by the gas pump, holding his water bottle. I used his phone to find the address for Dave's storage facility. It was only 15 minutes away. I parked Leo's car down the street from the facility and walked the rest of the way. I found Dave outside the main office and told him I was Leo's partner. I gave him a fake story about needing to grab the title from the glove box before the buyer arrived. He bought it without a second thought and unlocked the unit for me. There it was, intact and perfect. I got in the Mustang, hot-wired it since Leo had my spare keys, and drove it straight to the auto show. I left Leo's car parked on the side of the road with the keys in the ignition and the doors unlocked. I blocked his number and never spoke to him again.